Sky Network Midnight News. Watch. Dr. Adedeji Adeleke, father of Afrobeat star Davido, shared his speech, testimony at the Seventh-day Adventist General Conference Annual Council in Maryland, USA, United States. Singer Davido's dad, Dr. Deji Adeleke, is building the biggest power plant in Nigeria currently. His company, Pacific Energy, generates 15% of Nigeria's electricity, and the new power plant is worth $2 billion, which will be the largest in Nigeria and is expected to become operational in January.
I'm a businessman in Nigeria. I'm in the electricity business. I own power plants. I generate presently about 15% of the electricity need for Nigeria. I have Chinese engineering companies that work for me. I'm building, almost completed by January, by the grace of God, my new power plant that will be the biggest thermal plant in Nigeria. It's a 1,250 megawatts power plant, will become operational in January. But during the course of the design and getting all the permits, we ran into difficult government officials. For environmental reasons, our permit was denied. The particular government official that I held a meeting with told me to my face that your project will never see the light of day. But while he was saying that, I was saying in my mind that this guy is talking as if he's God. And because we are not God, I couldn't say it out, but I was saying it in my mind that God, listen to him. Because he's not God, whatever he's saying is null and void. I'm not going to be worried about it. So I left, disappointed of course, and I told my Chinese friend that, look, unfortunately, we have these difficulties, and it seems that it's going to be a while before we can get this going again. Meanwhile, it's a 1,250 megawatts power plant. Price tag is about $2 billion US. So it's not small money. So in the process, a lot of money has already gone into design and the preliminaries before we got to the stage where we must have the environmental permit before we can break ground. So my Chinese friend said, what are we going to do now? This is very serious, because the Afro-Exim Bank of China was involved. And that might have meant bankruptcy for him, for his company, because they have invested so much with me in this. So I told him not to worry, that everything's going to be all right. And he said that he's worried. Do you know somebody that can take you to the president or to speak to someone? I said, don't worry about it. That everything was going to be okay. And he said, are you sure? I said, no, I'm not going to do this on the I'm coming to see you. It seems that you found a solution, so I'm coming to see you. So while on his way, I got on my knees and I prayed about it. And I asked God to make all things well. And so when my friend came to me face to face, said that, yes, Mr. Chairman, he called me Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, so what is the solution about this? It seems you are not worried. I said, I'm not worried because I've prayed about it. And God is going to make it right. My friend became very upset with me. He said, God cannot do this. This is not about God now. This is not about your church. Please, Mr. Chairman, put this aside. We are talking serious issues now. And I said, that is the only way I know to go about it. On the Sabbath, so it was like on Thursday, Friday I prayed about it. On Sabbath, I prayed as
Dr. Adedeji's speech at the Seventh-day Adventist General Conference Annual Council. Dr. Adeleke discussed the challenges he faced from the government during the project and how he overcame them through faith. Reno Omokri give reasons why he will vote President Bola Tinubu comes 2027 against Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi. He expressed his choice via his official X handle. He wrote, "If there are 3 names on the ballot in 2027 and they're as follows: Waziri Atiku Abubakar, Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Peter Gregory Obi, and God spares my life and the lives of the above people, I will vote for and work vehemently for the victory of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, so help me, God." In terms of acknowledging loyalty, economic handling, dispute resolution and having a forgiving heart, Asiwaju is a far better politician than anyone on that list. What is your thoughts on this? Anambra Governor Charles Soludo signs bill to deduct funds from LGA, warning that LGA autonomy could result in humongous chaos. He said, "The absolute autonomy to the 774 local government areas in the country is an impossibility. In fact, it is a recipe for humongous chaos. The attendant challenges before the issue of local government autonomy are such that would certainly deepen the fate of the system and spell doom for the expected beneficiaries of the process if not well planned. The new laws by Anambra House of Assembly are therefore consequential to give operational life to the Supreme Court judgment and not to undermine it. If the State House of Assembly abdicates this constitutional duty, the local government will then have no law on the use and management of its finance." Watch. Senator Sumaila Abdul Rahman Kawu has emphasized that politicians should bear a significant portion of the responsibility for the rampant misuse of hard drugs throughout the nation. He said, "How many of us here can swear with the Quran or the Bible that they are not supporting drug abuses in their constituencies?" He suggested that before contesting in elections or accepting an appointment, you must undergo drug tests.
Sumaila, you speak to give the medical perspective to it, right? But 1 minute, please.
Mr. President, my dear, respected and distinguished honorable colleagues, I am Suleiman Abdurrahman Kawu Sumaila, representing Kano South Senatorial District. Mr. President, I think the intent of this bill, the content, and the general consensus of our distinguished senators are in support of anything that will stop drugs-related abuses in Nigeria. Therefore, but Mr. President, there is one aspect which we need to look into. Whether we created this agency, whether we strengthen the activities of NDLA, we need to do something. We, as politicians, we, as leaders in this country, we, as stakeholders, we need to do a lot. We all believe that religiously, both Islam and Christianity, even in our traditional religion, drugs-related abuse or drug abuse is prohibited. But who are encouraging and who are supporting it? Mr. President, we cannot achieve the result. We cannot achieve the intent of this bill unless and until we all agree that we will put our head together with relevant stakeholders to stop drugs abuse in Nigeria. Let us ask ourselves during our campaign, what are we doing with the so-called youth? How many of us can swear with Quran or Bible that in any way they are not supporting drug abusers in their constituency? I am happy if all of us can swear with the Holy Quran that they are not in any way in support of drugs abusers or intoxicating youth in their constituency to take drugs for their political. And Mr. President, we need, whether we are allowing this bill to continue to have an agency or we are strengthening LDE, we need to create a situation where before contesting election or before taking appointment at whatever in government level, you must go for drugs test. Finally, Mr. President, now I am speaking, I am here, as I am speaking now, most of our officers in our constituencies, most of our political office in our constituencies, most of our houses, when you go there, you will find out that there is mountain of drugs, and there are drugs dealers in our offices and in our houses or in our houses. I am immune to talk. I am in the chamber of the Senate, and I can take you to some of the political leaders who are in so many ways contributing or supporting drugs abuses in Nigeria. Therefore, Mr. President, we need to be serious. If we are talking, we need to understand we are all 19 here. Nigerians are with us.
Thank you very much.
Is with us.
Thank
we
you.
must fight it between
Thank you
from
very
our
much.
own side, not making law or not talking in the chamber of the Senate. We need to be serious. Let us go through the test and see who and who are not.
But excuse me, please let me draw the attention of Senator. Excuse me.
Yes.
Order, please. Let me
go for the drug test.
Order, please. Order, please.
From me.
Order. Let me draw the attention of my distinguished brother, Senator Kao Sumela, to order 56. Debate upon any motion, bill or amendment shall be relevant to such motion, bill or amendment except in the case of a substantive motion for the adjournment of the Senate. We should, when we are speaking, we are contributing, our contributions to be relevant to the subject matter. In this case, your contribution is not relevant to the subject matter. I therefore rule out of order.
Watch. Senator Adams Oshiomhole has expressed his voice against the establishment of a National Institute for Drug Awareness and Rehabilitation. He argues that the National NDLEA is already fulfilling this role. Oshiomhole believes that rather than creating another agency, we should focus on reinforcing the laws governing the NDLEA, as setting up a new organization would only lead to unnecessary expenses.
The mover of this motion, my very good friend, but I have serious concerns, not about the intention. There is no disputing the fact that drug abuse has become a serious national challenge. But I think that in anything we do in this Senate, we must ask the question, without establishing solutions. Earlier in the year, the executive decided to review the much talked about Roshayi report, where we found that there are so many agencies with it, whose mandate appear to be in conflict or overlapping. As we speak, Mr. President, sir, we have the NDLEA. The sole mandate of NDLEA is not only to address and prosecute drug traffickers. It is to deal with the whole gamut of drug abuse, enlighten those involved in drug abuse. They have training institutes. They have all of the things they are supposed to do. My suggestion, Mr. President, and I think the senator who I just left his seat to arrest the president is being unfair. Mr. President, sir, No, I cannot, sir, because I even need to persuade you. I need to persuade you to understand the logic, the basis of my statement. I think what is possible is for us to look at the existing law that has to do with NDLA, whose mandate is captured here substantially, to see whether we need to make amendment to that law if there are certain things that the agency is not able to do because of some gap in the law that established it. But in my opinion, this idea of setting up an agency for every aspect of life, every area in which we have challenges, if we were to do so, we are going to have law against cough, law against all sorts of things, all the problems we have in Nigeria. I feel with profound respect to my dear friend and to my colleague, distinguished senators, let us look at this bill, the actual bill, not this debate, because we're actually debating without blindly, because the law is not before us. Reconcile it with the law establishing the NDLA and see whether or not we just need to strengthen the NDLA or we need a complete new outfit. My worry is that we are spending so much money on overhead. You are going to have directors, you are going to have boards, you are going to have all kinds of buildings, etc., etc. All of that goes into the current expenditure, which add little or no value to the quality of life of Nigerians. I agree we must deal decisively with drug-related issues, but I'm not convinced that we need to establish yet another agencies that will be competing with the NDLA. Thank you, Mr. President.